Hi, good evening, and thank you so much for waiting. And it's good to be back here chatting with you guys on the Facebook platform. Today, I'm here for a very special conversation, and we wanted to talk about vaccines for children now that the first one has actually come through. So, I'm going to try and bring in a special guest for you. And ask all our queries, your queries, my queries, to this special guest. So, we're going to try and do that. Let me just send him the link so he can actually join us on this conversation. And then we can ask him all of our queries. I think this has been the biggest development that all of us have been waiting for, and it's finally here. So it's going to be great to have this conversation and understand what does this vaccine really mean, and how do we get the first vaccine for children. It's above for children above the age of 12 right now. And what has happened is Zydus Cadilla's vaccine, Zykov D, has gotten the approval from the government and the drug regulator. And so now they can start producing these vaccines for our country. The approval is actually for emergency use, as it is for all of the vaccines which are currently out there in the market. This will be the first one in our country for those above the age of 12, which is why it is so important. The other aspect, if you don't know about the Zydus vaccine, is that it's 3 doses. So that makes it a little complicated, the fact that it is a 3-dose vaccine, which is actually going to be out there in the market. Now, Dr. Parekh is here. Let me just add him to the room, and then we can get the conversation going. So good to have you, Dr. Parekh. We are live on the Mirror Now page. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes. So let's get straight to the point, Dr. Parekh. Tell us a little bit more about this vaccine now. What does it mean to say it's a needle-less vaccine? We don't have any such COVID vaccine currently in our market. So it's a little difficult for all of us to imagine what happens. Does it work like a polio drop? Somebody said it works like a jet spray. Are they going to be spraying into our noses? Or do we know anything?
Yeah, well, everything is not yet clear. Are you referring to the Zydus vaccine, which is about to get approval? Well, there are different ways in which vaccines can be administered other than the needle vaccine. And one of them is where they just bring it to the hand and inject it in. So it's still an injection, except that it gets sprayed directly into the skin. Now, the vaccine is not yet out. It has undergone trials. The results are promising. They have conducted a trial in over 1,000 children, and the vaccine efficacy is about 66.7%, which is excellent. But let us also keep in mind that, for example, the Pfizer mRNA vaccine, which has been approved abroad for children in the age group 12 to 18, that's at an efficacy of 100%.
Okay.
Not to say that this vaccine is not good, but I think we have to wait for all the results to come out, Tanvi. And as soon as the approval is there, we have to go ahead, because we are heading for a dangerous situation with the schools reopening and all our children being unvaccinated.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And that's a big population. And I think, a lot of parents are very hesitant to send their children to school until they are vaccinated. There's a big debate, of course, going on whether we should wait, open schools or not open schools until the children are vaccinated or not, because education has been impacted in a very big way. And there is only so long that a lot of other parents want to wait. But to say that the initial emergency use approval for the Zydus Cadila vaccine is now here. The company spoke today, Dr. Parekh, and they said that they are hoping to start the manufacturing and get some vaccines into the market by next month itself, by September itself, and maybe ramp it up to 3 crores or 4 crores by the end of this year. They in fact did mention that they were a little behind their manufacturing schedule because of the lockdown, and people, there were travel restrictions, so they couldn't get their new factory up and about, the manufacturing facility up and about on the right time. So that's their plan, which means that in a week we'll know what the price of this new vaccine is, a vaccine which is for adults as well as children. But internationally, like you were mentioning, there are already certain other brands which are being used. Has there been any research or data analysis done of how it's to what extent has it benefited children, and has there been any significant side effect?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the data is very compelling. The vaccines are safe. As I mentioned, that in the 12 to 18 age group, the Pfizer mRNA vaccine has had 100% efficacy. In the above 18 age group, the Moderna vaccine has had 97.7% efficacy. So it's quite robustly clear that the vaccines work in children. But, in addition to that, we have to look at another perspective, and that is the number of adults vaccinated. So in our country, the number of adults vaccinated is somewhere around 15% of the population.
Yes.
And in the UK, where schools have reopened, it's about 80% of the population. So the risk of unvaccinated children may not be that much in children, because children, for a variety of reasons, less ACE2 receptors and other factors, are less likely to get serious illnesses, though that profile too is changing with the Delta Plus variant. But by and large, children are not as much as at risk as adults. But when you have a combination of unvaccinated children and low vaccination in adults, then that is something to be very concerned about. And yet another thing, Tanvi, I think we should take a look at is what has happened in the current pandemic. Leave alone what happened 100 years ago. Let us just look at what's happened in this pandemic. So last year, Israel opened its schools, and in 1 week they had to shut down because 100% of the cases were traced to the children. South Korea, which has been a model of how to handle this pandemic, had to defer its school opening 5 times. And in the United States, where these are state matters, several states have opened and closed schools because the infection rates have increased, and these have been traced directly to the children and the opening of the schools. And in our own country, as you know, this month, schools were opened and closed. In Punjab, for example, within a week of the schools opening, 27 children got infected. They had to shut the schools again. So we are in dire need of vaccines for children. But while doing that, it's important for us to remember that we need to scale up our adult vaccination as well.
So how would you say we go about prioritizing or using these vaccines? Say another 5 crore or 3 crore of Zydus Cadila vaccines, which can be used for children. Should we look at a policy that these are only used for children, whereas we use Covishield, Covaxin, maybe the Johnson one, which is also now applied, and use those for adults?
That's a great idea, Tanvi. That's a great way to ensure that the maximum number of children get vaccinated, because schooling is a great priority for our children. And we must never forget that a large percentage of our population is young people. Our country's population the demographic shift is more towards a younger population. So they are a priority. And I think that's a fabulous idea that we use the Zydus vaccine on children and keep the other vaccines for the adults.
Okay. For parents, obviously, to take the vaccine for yourself is one thing, Dr. Parekh, but to give one to your child for a new kind of vaccine. Obviously, we all have been immunized for various other diseases as infants, but for something so new, there is a lot of hesitation. What would you say to parents having those apprehensions about vaccinating their children?
Well, first of all, I would empathize with the parents, being a parent myself, and say that I completely understand their concerns. But what we need to do is judiciously weigh the pros and the cons. One thing is very clear, that when the infection comes to children, it can affect them, and in some cases seriously. The state of Florida, for example, is being overrun right now with children occupying beds, and there are not enough beds over there. We've seen what has happened in the second wave of the pandemic, and we should not forget that. So when we weigh the near certainty of what the infection does with the slight doubt in what the vaccine could do for children, I think the odds are heavily weighed in favor of giving our children the vaccine. Second thing I'd like to tell parents is children have always been recipients of vaccines. I mean, when is the last time you heard of adults getting vaccines? When is the last time we got vaccinated before this pandemic? We've all been vaccinated as children. And so there is another safety factor. And the third thing is the trials are being conducted across the world. And in our country, the trial is conducted on 1,000 children. And while the efficacy rate is 66.7%, there has been no downside to it. So please go ahead and get your children vaccinated as quickly as possible.
So here is a tricky one now. This is a Zydus Cadila, the only one available for those above the age of 12, and 12 and 18 is what we are talking about right now. Is a 3-dose vaccine, well, which obviously means that it will take longer. If people had the option, everybody would want to go for a single dose, get done with it. We have data that suggests a lot of people have never came back for their second dose, even for Covishield and Covaxin. In that sense, would it be prudent to maybe wait? Is there another vaccine for children which is around the corner that parents can wait for? Because this is a 3-dose schedule otherwise if you're looking at.
True. But I think it's also important for us, Tanvi, to realize that even a single dose proffers us some immunity. So 1 dose is better than no dose. And we don't know when the single dose vaccine will be around. And we don't know what its efficacy is. We don't even know what its side effects are likely to be as yet until the trials are completed. So we have a choice now between a vaccine which is proven to be efficacious, in which there is hardly any downside, other than you have to take 3 doses, as opposed to nothing that we can be sure of. And besides what we have seen in the adult vaccines thus far, it's okay to mix the vaccines. So, for example, people who've taken 1 dose of Covishield can take another dose of the Pfizer mRNA or the Moderna mRNA vaccine. This has been seen across the board, across the world. So, I would suggest let's get 1 dose done. And then if a better vaccine or a safer vaccine is around the corner, one requiring just 1 shot, maybe, I'm not saying for sure because we don't have the data yet, but it's possible that they could take that vaccine then, that they could combine the vaccines.
Yeah, because right now that's not an option available to us. I mean, we've spoken about mixing of the brands, but it's not something that the government has allowed. I think they started the plan to carry out a trial and see how that works, and then only maybe allow. So I think if anybody goes in, then they will have to stick to this one for at least 3 doses, however much time that takes.
In all probability, but I'm also hoping that in the states that we are in across the world, and particularly in India, we are not that adamant about doing the trials in our country, and that we accept data from around the world. So that may happen too. And in the condition that we are in and trying to avert a possible 3rd wave, I think it would be prudent to accept international data rather than insist on doing large-scale trials in our country, because that will only delay things.
Okay. We have a question from one of our viewers, Dr. Parekh. Of course, like we discussed, is it safe for all children? But they're also asking about children with, medical conditions or complications. What if it's a child who has a heart disease? Then what should they do?
They should, to the best of our knowledge currently, go ahead and take the vaccine, because keep in mind, all these comorbid conditions also put the children at greater risk for the illness. And therefore, and I'm just extrapolating this from adults because all the data is not out on children as yet, but looking at what we've seen in adults, that they in fact should get a greater priority on the vaccines because they're at a greater risk of the illness. And if they get the illness, they're at a greater risk of the complications of the illness.
Right. And the same process as it is for adults. Would probably get a consultancy from your doctor to figure out if any other precautions have to be taken.
Absolutely. There's no doing away with your doctor. So you and I can chat on Facebook, and these are general guidelines. But at the end of the day, you must, as a parent, discuss with the pediatrician, whoever is the child's doctor, to find out for that particular child what is the optimal thing to do.
Okay. Of course, several of the states have begun to look at the option of opening schools. And again, like you were giving examples internationally, here in our country as well, in Punjab, we saw schools have reopened for certain classes. In a couple of schools where there was a breakout, they shut it down. So this will always play on the parents' mind when the child goes to school. But would it be safer with one dose, or should the children have to wait for all of the doses before this risk is taken?
Well, now see, that's a personal opinion. And
Yeah,
I want to sort of emphasize that what I'm stating is my personal opinion. It's not entirely based on evidence because the evidence is not there as yet.
right.
Uh, First. And second, by way of disclosure, I must say that I have been labeled a conservative, a very big conservative in this pandemic. But as a redeeming feature, Tanvi, you're aware of this. I'd just like to share it with all our friends on Facebook that, last March when there were 0 deaths in our country and only 84 cases, I was in a panel discussion where almost all the panelists were saying, we have nothing to worry. This is not going to hit India. We're going to be safe. And I kept talking about the lack of testing, the inadequate results from the testing, and kept warning people that, look, we might be in for a terrible condition. And I was in fact called an alarmist. So maybe if I tell parents now that I am with you if you're being extra careful with your children, because that is what I would do. Some might consider me to be an alarmist, but I'm just stating a personal opinion because all the evidence is not yet in.
Okay, so we know what as a father what you're going to do, at least when it comes to your children, going back to regular education. But what is also important to point out, Dr. Parekh, is that you do believe that vaccines are good and safe even for children.
Oh, absolutely, Tanvi. There's no question about that in my mind.
Okay, so let's talk about another aspect of it in terms of side effects. Is there any study? And of course, for Zydus Cadila, we need to see when they publish their research in more detail. But in general, abroad, where the vaccines have been used on those above the age of 12, have there been any different side effects from what we see? We usually see fever, some amount of headache as the side effect.
Not to my knowledge, and I have been following the published literature almost on a daily basis. Right. And I'm glad that you pointed out that the data here needs to be published. Before it's published, it needs to be peer reviewed. And somehow, and I'm not saying of this particular vaccine, but we've seen in the past that companies have rushed to announce the success of their vaccine even before the data has been peer reviewed or published. So I'm very happy that you are pointing out to all our Facebook friends that they have to wait for the published literature. On the other hand, the emergency use approval means that a committee of scientists has looked at the results, has been privy to all the results, and has declared the vaccine safe. So as of now, I wouldn't worry about the safety at all. I would worry about the safety of our children from COVID.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Let's talk about a little bit about the pace of our vaccination so far, Dr. Parekh. We've had certain good days even in this month where we've touched 85 lakh per day. But on an overall basis, like you said, a very small percentage of the population is still vaccinated. What is your sense of, at this pace, where will we be by the end of the year then?
Oh, at this pace, if you're doing at 85 lakhs and assume that will go up to 1 crore a year, we should be in a good space by the end of this year. Because we should not forget that we don't need to vaccinate. We should aim to vaccinate 100% of our population, but we don't need to do that to develop herd immunity and have everybody safe. So as long as we vaccinated somewhere above 60% of our population, we are in good space, and that should happen by the end of the year.
60% of our population by the end of the year, if we've managed to vaccinate those many people, then we would be in a good position. And that's when you think that we will be able to open up, because the festival season hits us much before that.
Yes, but the virus has always been 2 steps ahead of us. We must humbly acknowledge that the virus can pull out all kinds of tricks, and such as mutant strains. Now, for example, everybody was worried about the Delta strain. And then to add to it came the Delta Plus, which was even more dangerous than the Delta. And the Delta Plus is already mutated into 13 different strains. Not that all of them are more lethal or more infective, but just to illustrate that all our assumptions are based on what we have seen so far. But the virus is ahead of us. So all of this comes with the caveat that under current circumstances, with our current state of knowledge, this is what we would expect. But we must humbly acknowledge that the virus may come up with something else altogether and pull out a surprise on us. So we have to be cautious. You know, the masking, the washing hands, the keeping distance, we can never emphasize it enough, because whatever variant comes in, by and large, this will help.
Is that also why there is so much more conversation about booster shots? And many of our viewers also keep asking us that will we be done with just one shot or two shot? Currently we have two shot vaccines, or will we have to keep doing this year after year after year?
Well, let's hope we don't have to keep doing it year after year after year. But yet, on the other hand, there is going to be a need for booster shots, which is, of course, great news for the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah. But look what's happened with the flu vaccine, for example. The flu virus mutates every year. And because the vaccine has to be got ready ahead of the mutation, it's a guessing game. So scientists guess around October, November, what the mutation is likely to be in the following spring. And vaccines are made and they're given out. And most of the time, these yearly shots are right. But a couple of times they've got them completely wrong. So let's hope this doesn't go the way of influenza. And we do have a vaccine which has much longer lasting immunity. But for now, I think we can be reasonably sure that booster shots will be required.
Okay, great. Anything else, Dr. Parekh, that you would like to add, especially on the aspect of vaccines for children and which way we are headed, or maybe how long could it be before we actually have some more of these brands in the market?
Actually, you've covered everything so comprehensively, Tanvi, in your questions. You've done a wide spectrum of things, I think addressed most of the concerns that parents and even adults who are not parents would have. What do I add to that? One, it's a great thing, first of all, that we have a vaccine around the corner. Second, we don't really know how rapid this vaccination pace is going to go on. Hopefully, other companies will also come up with children's vaccines, which are safe and efficacious. But as the vaccines come out, we must ensure that our children get vaccinated. You know, vaccine hesitancy is going to complicate things, because if not enough children get vaccinated, then the unvaccinated children are going to pose a risk to everybody in the population other than to themselves. So the highest risk will be to the adults and the elders in their family. Then there'll be a risk to themselves, but there'll also be a risk of dragging on this pandemic. And I think since we've all had enough of what we've seen in the last year and a half, let us look upon it in an altruistic manner, that in vaccinating our children, we are not only saving them, but we're also helping to save society and the elders in society. So vaccination is not just for children, it's for all of us. Yeah. And I think we should take it as a social responsibility to get our children vaccinated.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you for taking all of our queries. And hopefully, as we go along, we'll do more of these conversations now that you and I have learned how to figure out a Facebook Live together, which is open to public and viewers.